Australian paramedics respond to more than 9,000 calls for help every day.
We've got at least 2 patients down.
Working around the clock.
Twist slowly, one leg at a time.
Fighting to save lives.
Ready, set, go.
Cameras across Melbourne give unprecedented access.
Hold on, people.
You're okay.
To the daily lives of these emergency service heroes. Tonight on Paramedics.
It's our son.
He's Ricky under absolute.
A call from the desperate parents of a man bleeding to death.
Jared, put your arms down, mate.
A special father-son trip turns to disaster.
This kid is really struggling to breathe. He looks petrified. We need to act fast.
And Eamon and Mike spoiling for a fight at a martial arts centre.
Yeah, if anyone wants to have a roll with Foxy and put him through his paces...
We're in this room of almost trained killers, and he asked them if they want to fight me. I'm tougher than I look.
Emergency services. Tell me exactly what's happened.
It's our son. He's got a really, really bad cut arm. It's gone through a window and there's a huge amount of blood loss.
He's Ricky under absolute.
In Melbourne's southeast, a couple is calling, terrified their son has severed an artery in his arm.
All right, is he awake at the moment?
Is he awake? No.
Is he breathing?
His lips are blue and he's all white and he's losing blood in his own pocket.
Micah paramedic Cam is sent on a priority 0, the most urgent call out of all.
The problem with blood is it's easy to fall out, but we can't put it back in. Worst case scenario is you could die. Who knows what kind of scene we're about to walk into. Hopefully he's not still stuck in the window.
But another crew has already found the man collapsed in the backyard. He's drifting in and out of consciousness.
G'day, my name's Cam. Sammy, are we going to be right to just go, mate?
I'd say so, mate. We haven't got access yet. I just want to get him on and get him in.
Yeah. What's his name?
Jared.
There's so much blood. He's definitely hit an artery or a major vessel, and I start thinking he could be bleeding out in front of us right now.
Knock, knock. Hello.
Hey.
It's a much happier start to the shift for Nicola.
It's a nice surprise.
I know.
Her regular partner and work bestie Risky, who's on maternity leave, has popped in for a visit.
This
What
little
have
one.
we got here? Eve.
Yep.
Hello. Oh, she's so tiny.
You want to hold?
Absolutely.
This is the first time Nicola has met baby Eve.
It's amazing to see Risky today. Being a mum seems like a pretty tough job, but she looks like she's handling it really well.
So I'm working with Leonard. It's pretty fun. It's no Risky though.
No, I wouldn't think so.
No. Still need my work wife.
Still
to
miss
come back.
me?
Absolutely.
So Nicola's teaming up with Leonard today. He's a good guy and I'm happy to share her, but it is stealing my territory a little bit.
What's all the sooking? Didn't you like your auntie Nicola?
Little Eve is so cute, and I can definitely see hints of Risky in there, but it does make me concerned because I'm not sure the world is ready for more mini Riskies.
You can probably have her back now.
Okay, sure.
She doesn't like me very much.
Emergency services. Tell me exactly what's happened.
It's my neighbour, slipped and has fallen, and she's screaming.
A few kilometres away in the State Emergency Communications Centre, a call is coming in from the worried friend of a badly injured grandmother.
What part of the body was injured?
It looks like she may have fractured her hip.
Okay, she's still on the floor.
Yes, she is.
As the closest crew in Melbourne's northeast, Leonard and Nicola are on their way to the elderly woman under lights and sirens.
So Leonard, fall, query, fractured hip. 71-year-old, mechanical fall outside, no head strike. Patient is screaming.
Oh, screaming.
Yeah, that's
A lot of pain. Any time that I get sent to a patient with a potentially broken hip, the first thing that I think of is pain, and a lot of pain.
Hi. So who are we here for?
Oh, my mum.
What's your mum's name?
Doris.
Doris?
Yep. Oh.
Doris.
Yes.
Hello, my name's Nicola. I've got Leonard with me as well.
Oh.
So when you fell, did you land on this hip
Yes,
here?
yes.
And then you've rolled over, have you?
Yes.
Did you hit your head at all?
Nah.
Do you know what day of the week it is today, Doris?
It's Saturday.
Saturday. And do you know what month?
I know everything.
Yeah, we just need to make sure. When I see Doris lying on the ground, it's obvious that she's in an excruciating amount of pain. So I do some physical checks of her head and neck to make sure there's no other injuries there, and I'm pretty confident that this is just isolated to that hip. We'll just check your blood pressure and your heart rate, then I can give you something for your pain.
Before Doris can be moved to the ambulance, she needs fast-acting pain relief.
Have you had the green whistle before?
You pop it in your mouth and you got to breathe in. Keep breathing, deep breaths into the green whistle. When a person is in agony, they can often release a lot of adrenaline, and that causes the body to shake uncontrollably, which is happening to Doris right now. That's it. Breathe. So we really need to get stronger pain relief on board fast, because I don't know how much more pain Doris can handle. Doris, focus on breathing in.
Big breaths.
Every time you want to scream, you breathe in.
Can he stand or not at all? Yeah, okay.
Intensive care paramedic Cam is worried 28-year-old Jared has severed an artery in his arm after crashing through a plate glass window.
Just relax, mate. We're going to get you into the ambulance, okay?
That's it, mate.
Before he can be rushed to hospital, the paramedics need to check him for more injuries. If he's lost too much blood, Jared could die.
Oh, there's a lot of blood on there from something.
Yeah, he might have bled down onto it, so...
Yeah, rolling. Yep.
Okay, let's go. Just monitor off.
Yep, that's it, mate. We're going to take care of you. Roll on your side.
Okay.
Nothing on his back.
All good, thank you.
Sam and Lauren have done an amazing job. They'd put a combat tourniquet on Jared's arm, but there's blood all over the ground. There's blood on the porch. There's blood everywhere.
Jared's mum, Julie, called paramedics after finding her son unconscious in the backyard.
When I found him, he wasn't in a good way at all. He'd had a terrible blood loss. It was quite clear that he was in a lot of trouble.
Can you give us a hand just to lift him up onto here, please?
On his side.
Just watch your back there as well, mate. Okay, just on the sides like this.
As a parent, I'm watching my son hurt and just praying that he's going to make it through.
Put your foot in.
That's it. And down we go.
Okay.
Keep your arms in, mate. We're trying to help.
Jared, put your arms down, mate.
Big breaths.
71-year-old Doris is also in a bad way with a suspected fractured hip.
That's it. Big breath.
Nicola and Leonard are giving her fast-acting pain relief to try to make the grandmother more comfortable.
We're going to try and get a needle in, give you some more pain relief.
Well done.
When did she fall? Like, how long ago?
Maybe
10 minutes? Yep. Sure.
looks like you're cooking, my dad.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Doris was preparing a meal for family when she slipped and fell. Husband Simon rushed to her side when he heard her cries for help.
She was going through a lot of hell of a pain. It is very hard, you know, but I have to be there at that moment to be strong for her. I said, please, God, help her, you know. I mean, I need her. I need my wife.
The way that her leg is at the moment indicates to us most likely she's fractured the neck of her femur, so up high in the hip.
If Nicola's right, Doris will need surgery and months of rehab. As full-time carer of epileptic daughter Norma, it's a devastating setback.
She's the rock. Without her, we struggle. As her son, I'm worried for her, but I'm trying to hold it together and trying to make Dad think that, you know, it's okay, everything's going to be good. She'll be okay.
So, Doris, we're going to have to move you in a second. Now, it is going to hurt because we're going to slide you up a ramp and then onto our stretcher.
Don't worry about tomorrow. Hey?
You're all right, Doris. Get your family here. That's the most important thing.
With a big dose of morphine on board, Doris can now be moved into the ambulance.
You can take a few deep breaths now, Doris.
Big breaths.
No,
Big breaths.
Put it in your mouth.
Put that whistle in your mouth,
Doris.
Big breaths. The problem with the hip area is that it's involved in all your movements, so it can be really hard for us to completely eliminate pain. Getting Doris onto our stretcher is quite a struggle, but we have no choice. We need to get her to hospital. Big breath.
Every time you want to scream.
Big breath.
Keep breathing on it.
We're going to give you some oxygen in the back of the ambulance, OK, Jared? Pop your arms in for me, mate.
Single responder Cam is desperately working to get Jared to hospital after the 28-year-old smashed his arm through a window.
It sounds as though he's lost enough blood that he needs it replaced. I don't have blood on the ambulance, so I'm thinking, whatever we do, let's get moving.
Just relax, it's all right.
Dad Alan tried to stem the bleeding using his shirt as a bandage.
It was absolutely pouring out, coming out of his arm probably that far. He was in a really, really bad way. And he just kept saying, I love you, Dad. I said, I love you too, mate.
Okay, mate.
OK, mate, you're doing well.
Keep your arms in, mate. We're trying to help, OK?
Nobody knows what caused Jared's accident today.
He'd been drinking pretty heavy through the day, been doing it for a few days, and came in very argumentative, had a little bit of argument with me. I don't really know what actually happened then.
Hey, Jared. Jared, open your eyes.
Jared desperately needs a blood transfusion at hospital. Until then, all Cam can do is give fluids through a drip.
Jared, open your eyes for me, mate.
It's really hard to deal with Jared because he's distressed and agitated, and I don't know if it's just he hasn't got enough blood pressure to the head or something else is going on.
Cam?
Yeah.
My sister of amphetamine use. He may be using today.
OK, thank you. He's got a little bit of the sweats. No obvious head injury. OK, I'm going to need a hand just to get the IV in. Jared, I've got to put a little needle in, but you need to stay really still for me.
Jared's not really compliant to my instructions.
Still, mate, still. Jared.
I need to get this needle in his arm so I can give him some fluid. If he continues to deteriorate, worst case is he's lost so much blood, he might even go into cardiac arrest.
Really still?
Stay nice and still, mate. Don't move. Don't move.
In Melbourne's city centre, good mates Mike and Eamon are passing the time between jobs.
Who do you think would win in a fight between a grizzly bear and a gorilla?
Grizzly bear.
You reckon? I bet gorilla.
Claws.
Yeah, but the gorillas are so strong.
The bear, unless it's winter, in which case it would be hibernating.
I like Foxy. He's a massive dag. No, there's no hibernating.
Then bear.
If the grizzly bear's awake, it's got claws. It's definitely going to win.
With one of life's big questions now figured out, the team is being called to a real fight at a nearby martial arts centre.
Right, what do we got? It's a jiu-jitsu class, and he's landed on his elbow, and it's popped or fractured. And he's 25, and that's all we really know. All right, what is his name going to be?
Oh, yeah. I want to say Brian, but I feel I reckon 25's too young, so I reckon Ryan.
Ryan, okay, I like it. I'm going to say his name is Andrew. Or Andy. I'll take anything.
I'll give you that.
Andrew or Andy. Another game Foxy and I like to play together is guessing a patient's name on the way to a job. We've currently got a 0% strike rate, but we're feeling confident. One day. G'day, mate. I'm Eamon. I've got Mike with me.
G'day.
What was your name?
I'm Mark.
Mark. So I guessed Andrew, Foxy guessed Ryan, and his name was Mark. That's probably the closest we've ever gotten. And that's not even close. What's happened? Did you hear sort of like a popping sensation?
Yeah, I had a really huge crunch. So I kind of bent like that.
And how are you going sort of moving those fingers? That feels normal? No sort of altered sensation there? Okay. You didn't hurt anything else, you don't think?
No.
It sounds like Mark was doing a takedown and he somehow landed awkwardly on his elbow. I'm worried that maybe he's dislocated something, torn a ligament, or broken a bone maybe. So whereabouts is the pain exactly?
Oh, there it is. Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's quite tender. Yeah, okay.
Mark will need an X-ray to find out just how much damage he's done.
So we are going to have to walk you out to the ambulance. So I'm going to give you the green whistle.
Tastes pretty average. Pop that. Yep, hold that in there. The book says it tastes like juicy fruits, but it tastes nothing like juice.
I've never had a juicy fruit that tastes like that.
No, because no one would buy them.
A splint is applied to help with Mark's pain, but it's nowhere near as good as the green whistle.
How you going with that?
I'm good. I'm pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that's not even the strongest.
I don't do anything that strong.
It's a low-dose anaesthetic, and people react to it in some really bizarre ways. Some people are two-pot screamers, and they'll be off chops after a couple of puffs. Take it slow, mate.
Yeah, don't trip over anything, because we've got a lot of crap everywhere.
All right, hold up, mate. You're on the run. Mark was a pretty upbeat guy anyway, and he was off like a rocket.
Just stay active. Don't break anything.
With Mark flying high, the only person heading for a takedown now is Mike.
Now, if anyone wants to just have a roll with Foxy and just put him through his paces...
I'm tougher than I look. Eamon just threw me under a bus. We're in this room of almost trained killers, and he asked them if they want to fight me.
And after you break him, he can fix himself.
Yeah.
Breathe in. Well done.
Nicola and Leonard are still working hard to get 71-year-old Doris into their ambulance. Even a large dose of morphine hasn't been enough to completely ease the excruciating pain from her suspected fractured hip.
Keep breathing. Keep breathing on that. That's it.
That's it.
Doris is in a lot of pain, and the family are watching on. You can just tell the emotions that they're having right now, watching their loved one be in so much agony. To me, it was evident that this was a really tight-knit family.
See you later.
It's going to go in 2.5 now, Leo.
Yeah. It's all right. You just get better, yeah? Don't worry about us.
Bit more morphine, Doris, okay? You've got a very nice family there.
Oh. And my husband, he survived his cancer.
Did he?
He's the one who got it first. His brother Louis got it second. His brother Val, they both gone. Lost my best friend also.
Lots of grief in your family. Yeah. But you're still going strong.
But Doris will need all the strength she's got. Recovering from a serious hip injury will be a tough battle.
I really feel sorry for Doris. For somebody of her age to fracture a hip means a really lengthy stay in hospital. She's going to potentially have multiple operations, which is going to put her at risk for infections and even pneumonia. So this fracture of her hip could really tip her over the edge.
How are you going? Do you need any more medicine, or you're okay for now?
As they arrive at hospital, doctors are standing by to assess how badly Doris has damaged her hip.
Got quite a story, Doris. I was listening to it all.
Jared. Hey, you're doing really well, mate. I'm trying to fix you. You put a really nasty cut in your arm. Do you understand?
Under lights and sirens to hospital, Cam is finally getting life-saving fluids into Jared after a massive loss of blood.
So that's running through nicely, mate.
Yeah, so I just want to give him 250 mils and then reassess.
The 28-year-old has been agitated since smashing into a window at his parents' house.
His dad did say that he might be ice affected as well.
He's got the alcohol breath as well.
Yeah. Well, he seemed quite intoxicated when we got there.
You know, if all of our patients were compliant and followed our instructions, it'd be great. But often people are affected by drugs or alcohol, and they're often the most challenging cases we do.
Hey, mate. You're in the ambulance. Can you hear me? Not if you can hear me, mate. Good man.
If that's his true blood pressure, mate, I'm happy to put another 250 mils in. We didn't really get much improvement with it.
If he's to survive, Jared urgently needs a blood transfusion.
Hey, Jared, we're at the hospital. Do you understand? Lost a bit of blood putting your arm through the window, mate.
It's the last in a long line of dramas for Jared's long-suffering loved ones.
Jared was having a really bad time leading up to this. His drinking was putting a lot of pressure on our family.
Okay, nice and easy.
We went through some very, very bad periods. He was on the ice. Unless you've been a parent, you've been through it, people won't understand it.
Off you go. Yep.
As they arrive at the emergency department, the anxious wait begins to see if Jared's troubled life can be saved.
My biggest fear for Jared is that he's not going to make it. It definitely is every mother's worst nightmare.
Hang on, Jared.
All right, head this way, up the stairs.
This is my partner, so is he okay if he comes?
You're most welcome to come with us, sure.
In the city, Mike and Eamon are beating a hasty retreat from the martial arts centre.
Left. That's it, mate.
Their patient, 25-year-old Mark, is heading to hospital for x-rays with partner Bruce.
All right, too easy. You get that seat facing backwards.
Just before they left, Eamon volunteered Mike for a wrestle with Mark's teammates.
As soon as I mentioned that maybe Mike have a fight, he was filthy.
Do you guys get to pick who you're paired with?
Generally not. But fortunately, Mike, he's just struck absolute gold working with me. He's probably the luckiest bloke in the unit service.
I can definitely see that.
So they tell me. All right, just moving on.
Mark, who could have seriously injured his elbow, has been in high spirits since Mike and Eamon arrived.
So the bloke you is it wrestling, rolling with today, is he a fairly advanced fighter?
We were practicing something called a takedown, and I landed on my left arm in a weird position.
Yeah.
And then everyone stopped, and I became a celebrity for a small amount of time.
I know, I felt so much pressure working under an audience there. And how did you gentlemen meet?
We met 7 years ago at university.
You have to put a ring on it soon.
We have.
There you go. Got it. Well, congratulations. That's exciting.
One of the most interesting things about this job is the people you meet. Mark and Bruce are so nice, and it's jobs like this that make our job so enjoyable.
How was the wedding? When was the wedding?
We didn't have a wedding.
Oh, you just kept it pretty chilled?
Just decided to...
Keep it low-key.
Keep low-key, and like that money that would have potentially been spent on the wedding, we would prefer to go to children,
there's
like,
money
you know,
well spent.
down the line.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we cannot naturally conceive, unfortunately, unless a miracle were to be performed upon one of us.
What I liked about Mark and Bruce is despite all of this stuff going on, they had a smile on their face the entire time. They're so obviously in love. They seem to be kicking all sorts of goals together.
Oh, this is very...
Yeah, they're all hydraulic now. Makes much easier on our back.
It's how blokes with little chicken arms like Eamon and I can get into the job. Go on, you can come along with him. All right.
I feel so special.
Well, you're special in a way.
Yeah, that's what my mum says.
Yeah, my mum says that too.
Mark's elbow will now be x-rayed to see how much damage he's done and how long he'll be waiting for his next takedown.
Mark, he was the friendliest guy ever, I think. I mean, it might have been the drugs, but...
It was even before that, though.
Yeah.
He was so hyper and just happy to see us, which no one ever is.
Yeah.
More importantly, a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses, who would win?
Horse-sized duck?
It's huge.
By the way, I would like to see the fight.
Emergency services. My son Daniel, he's starting to have a seizure now. He's turning slightly blue. Whoa, there's a lot of white froth pouring out of his mouth.
In Melbourne's southeast, intensive care paramedic Dodsey is on his way to the worried mum of an epilepsy sufferer.
Patient having convulsions, assisted breathing at code 0.
99 received.
The 26-year-old is having a potentially deadly fit known as a tonic-clonic.
This gentleman sounds crook.
The tonic-clonic seizure is that classic one that people talk about of the person shaken quite violently and they lose consciousness and hit the floor.
Hello.
It can lead to a whole myriad of complications if it's not treated in a timely fashion.
How you going, mate? What's going on, buddy? Yeah.
Daniel has had multiple seizures.
But Dodsey arrives to find Daniel's tonic-clonic has now turned into a string of smaller fits.
This evening was given 5 milligrams IM as per the treatment plan.
Yep.
Has clearly not worked.
Yeah.
He's been given a drug, midazolam, to stop the seizures. But Daniel has a history of not responding to treatments.
He's also had seizures at 1743, 1750, 1802, 1848.
Yeah.
Daniel's been having seizures every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. That translates to me of 100 plus seizures a day, which is massive.
I'll see he's going again.
Daniel.
Across town, Nicola and Leonard have just been called to their second emergency of the day.
Someone 5 received code 1.
A 7-year-old at a hotel in the city is having an asthma attack so severe he can barely breathe. Nicola knows it's going to be a difficult case.
Patients experiencing breathing problems are really critical and they can deteriorate so quickly. And to add to that, if you know you're going to a kid who's struggling to breathe, things can get pretty stressful.
Actually sounds like he's a bit sick, this patient.
Oh, they're behind us.
The mic up?
Intensive care paramedic Dom has also been called as worrying news filters in about the boy's oxygen levels, or SATs.
It's like SATs of 85%. Salbutamol given, no effects.
So when the update comes through that this child's oxygen levels are 85%, alarm bells are going off in my head. Normal oxygen levels should be closer to 100%. So 85 is absolutely catastrophic. Oh, hello, Fletcher.
Fast-acting first aid officers at the hotel have given Fletcher oxygen through a mask, but he's so sick, it's not enough.
This kid is really struggling to breathe. I can hear him gasping for air, and when I look at him, he looks petrified. We need to act fast.
Daniel.
Dodsey is with 26-year-old epileptic Daniel, whose back-to-back seizures are not responding to treatment.
We had a little bit of a scare because he did have a tonic-clonic today, which is not normal for him at all.
Yeah.
Daniel's parents, Hannah and Dimitri, called paramedics after an earlier tonic-clonic fit started affecting his breathing.
Lips usually don't turn blue. Today
Yeah.
we noticed it.
So it's elevated more so than it's normal. Yeah. What's his other ongoing medical issues?
Rasmussen's.
Encephalitis.
Ah, okay.
I think there's 8 cases in Australia.
So Mum and Dad, tell me that Daniel suffers from a very rare disease called Rasmussen's encephalitis. This is something that I wasn't really aware of, so I need to draw on Mum and Dad's experience and knowledge around this.
We're happy if there's 2 seizures a day. That's sort of normal. But he has been going downhill for the last few weeks.
So they produce a book. This is something that they document 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So their treatment is exemplary.
Daniel's encephalitis causes mental and physical disabilities as well as daily seizures.
Daniel's first episode was at school just before he turned 10. We've been told that it could be from a virus. Others believe could be genetic. No one really knows.
Until diagnosis, Daniel's life was normal. Now, the whole family lives in fear of his seizures.
At present, he's fitting every minute and a half. It's heading to a situation where only hospitalisation can save him.
Daniel needs to be taken to an ICU and heavily sedated.
Midazolam, 5 milligrams in 1 mil.
In the meantime, Dodsey wants to give more of the drug midazolam, but Dad Dimitri isn't keen.
We need to stop the seizure activity, so...
It might not happen.
OK. I'll leave him be in this aspect. If he has a tonic-clonic seizure or I think his airway's compromised, then I'll treat him. Other than that, I'm happy to leave it.
Yes, please.
All right?
So we come to a compromise. If he is to reach a tonic-clonic seizure at any stage, we would treat him with midazolam. If Daniel was just presenting with his normal seizure activity, we would sit on it, make sure he was OK, and deliver him to hospital.
But transporting Daniel won't be easy. He's still drifting in and out of consciousness, and his condition could quickly deteriorate.
We'll take good care of him, OK?
Nicola and Leonard have just arrived to help 7-year-old asthmatic Fletcher, who's fighting for breath in a hotel room.
I'm gonna pop some stickers on you, mate.
Hotel first aid staff called for help when Fletcher's oxygen levels plummeted to terrifyingly low levels.
As I look at Fletcher, he is struggling to breathe, he's coughing, but I actually recognise it's croup. It's definitely croup. It's got that distinctive barking cough. I'm gonna give you some medications to make you feel better.
Croup is an infection causing swelling in Fletcher's airways. With asthma adding to his problems, he's at risk of respiratory failure.
Hey, Fletcher, what we're gonna do, we're gonna swap you for a better mask. All right, you ready? Firstly, we need to give him adrenaline in a nebulizer, and what that does is it reduces the inflammation in his throat almost immediately so he can breathe straight away.
Is that helping your breathing, Fletch? Yeah. We'll let that medicine go through and then we'll give you a bit more.
Fletcher and Dad Ben are supposed to be enjoying a fun city break.
Feeling better?
Any sightseeing now will be from the inside of an ambulance.
Come down for a holiday to Melbourne with Dad and look, this will happen, right? Now, Fletch, we need to get you on our big stretcher. Do you think you'll be all right to crawl across there? Man.
You right? Good job. And you sit down there.
Now, we've got some special medication for you. You ready? Bit of orange juice.
On top of the oxygen nebulizer, Fletcher is given steroids to help with the swelling.
There you go.
But he's still not out of danger.
So the medication that we've given Fletcher is going to help him in the short term, but we still need to take him to hospital because this is a dynamic illness that could get worse over the coming days.
Hi, mate. How you going? So we're going to take good care of you, all right, buddy?
26-year-old Daniel is still having repeated epileptic seizures and needs to be heavily sedated in hospital. Dodsey is preparing to take him under the watchful eye of Dad Dimitri.
Absolutely, I will. That's why I'm going to put Dave in the back with me, and Dave can look after his airway and his head to make sure that it's nice and straight when that happens, OK?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
It has to be challenging to see your son go through that all the time. He's happy for me to take care of his son between here and hospital, and that is a privilege. I'm a father myself, so to hand that responsibility to a stranger is a big thing.
It is hard because we've been through it many times. The worst part about it that you're not able to immediately fix it. When you feel powerless, when you're asking doctors and they don't know what to do, it's the hardest part of it.
Because of past resistance to the drug midazolam, Dodsy's promised Daniel's parents he'll avoid using it.
There we go. Going again. Just want to make sure that his head is okay for me, David.
I think it's very important to make sure that Daniel's parents can trust that we'll care for him. But another risk with prolonged seizures is when that unconscious fit, their tongue can actually roll back and can occlude their airways, so inevitably they could stop breathing as well. So my eyes do not come off Daniel for the whole transport.
It must be exhausting for parents, particularly this has been going on for 17 years and they haven't faltered.
You back with me, Dan? Yeah. Yeah. So we'll call that about another 60 seconds worth.
We're at the hospital, man, all right?
As promised, Dodsey has got Daniel to hospital without drugs. But nobody knows how long his fits will continue or if treatments will work.
Good work. You've done really well, buddy.
You making the sound of an ambulance? He seems like he's getting excited already.
Leonard and Nicola are preparing to take 7-year-old croup sufferer Fletcher to hospital.
Looking better.
There's actually, I don't know if you heard him before, he was making the eeyore noise.
Oh, were you?
Given the severity of Fletcher's croup, the micro-paramedic Dom is going to travel in the back of our ambulance in case he deteriorates on the way to hospital.
You got everything you need? Yeah.
Fletcher and his dad Ben are supposed to be enjoying a fun weekend away in Melbourne.
Still a bit barky. Sound like a seal.
Now they need to break the news to Mum.
Don't panic, Fletcher's okay, but... When you start a phone call with, now don't panic, the other person is going to naturally panic. We're on the way to the Royal Children's Hospital because it looks like we might have croup. So Fletcher's dad has a really tough job trying to reassure his wife that everything's under control.
Mum's a bit worried about you, Fletch.
There's like 800 people in the room. Being an up-and-coming father, I find that I'm much more empathetic towards parents. I can only imagine that that would be a really tough phone call to make to your wife, and I just hope that I'm never in this position. Okay.
Make a better sound than the siren, I reckon, Fletch. Now, I reckon if we ask Leonard really nicely, he might show us the lights before we go inside.
Fletcher's sightseeing trip to Melbourne is now on hold. His croup is so bad, he could be stuck in hospital for days.
Now, do you want to see the flashing lights?
Only time will tell if he'll ever get to see the real city lights.
Oh, I don't know if you can see behind you. Look at that. Wow. How's that? Pretty cool, huh?
It's now 2 months since Daniel was admitted to hospital with back-to-back seizures. Daniel spent 6 weeks in ICU before his fits were brought under control. It was a testing time for parents Hannah and Dimitri.
You have to keep positive. You have to believe that tomorrow will be a better day. Sometimes you're going away from ICU and, feeling very down. The next morning you're coming in and you see Daniel sitting up in the bed and smiling, and amazing what human body can do.
Daniel's had a lot less fits lately, giving him more time to catch up with his buddy, nephew Cooper.
Uncle Dan is the big builder.
He's a handful. I just have to live with that.
I don't like wrecking the really special stuff, so don't wreck.
Daniel is a very good person. His heart is full of gold. He taught me so many things. Watching person going through such a diverse condition and making the best out of it is enormously satisfying.
After an awkward takedown at jiu-jitsu, Mark had his wrist x-rayed and was sent home from hospital with ligament damage. He's now back at martial arts with Bruce, and the couple is still planning a family. It's 4 months since 71-year-old Doris suffered her potentially devastating hip injury.
Hi, Blondie, would you like a cup of coffee or tea?
Yes, please, cup of tea.
But with a brand new hip in place, Doris is back in the loving arms of her family.
I said to the doctors many times, I said, please don't let me go. Just make me alive, just for my family. I love them with all my heart. I only live for them. Thank you.
Be careful, it's hot.
It's all right.
Doris endured several hip replacement surgeries and a nasty infection, while husband Simon held the fort at home.
When I saw at home, my heart was open up, you know, I was so happy. Do you remember this picture?
Of course I do.
About 30 years ago.
Yes.
51 years together. And we still love each other. Beautiful. She's still beautiful. Hi, Doris?
Yes, I am.
How about give me a kiss for that? Thank you.
7-year-old croup sufferer Fletcher spent one night in hospital before he was well enough to go home. Dad Ben made up for their disastrous city break by taking him camping. And it's now 3 months since Jared nearly bled to death after crashing through a window at his parents' home.
Apparently I lost 7 litres of blood, and yeah, my body was shutting down. They told me that I actually died. The doctors had done an amazing job to keep me alive.
You reckon he's grown since the last time you seen him?
He has grown.
Jared had a blood transfusion, 4 operations, and a skin graft.
How you feeling, mate? How's your arm?
There's no feeling through here. I got feeling in my thumb. The doctors just told me it's going to be a long 12 to 18 months before they know what operations they can do on it and what feeling I'm going to have in it.
Sensation having you back helping again, mate.
I'm glad to be back, Dad. I've missed it. Me and Dad had a bit of an argument that night. It was an argument about work. I lost my temper. I put my hand through a window. And that's how I done the accident. That's how I lost the blood. So, yeah. Good boy.
I did think that we were going to lose him that night. But he's off the alcohol, he's off the drugs, and as parents, we couldn't be happier.
It's good to be back around the horses, isn't it? This accident's been a real eye-opener to me. It showed me how important life is to you, how much your loved ones are worth to you, and I'm just grateful and happy to be alive.
Come a long way.
So happy back, darling.